Hi friends, I'm Cozi Zulsdorf. I was Hazel in Dolphin Tale. Who would have thought that a baby dolphin caught in a crab trap rope would eventually rise to inspire millions and change the lives forever of both children and wounded soldiers? On a chilly December morning, one man fishing by himself did the right thing and put in motion a series of events that would captivate the world and become one of the most inspiring real-life stories of our generation. Now, sit back and enjoy and watch the Clearwater Marine Aquarium team rally around Winter and experience for yourself Winter's overcoming story. Watch Winter as she fights for her life and against all odds survives, and in the process teaches us all a great life lesson. Never ever give up. This is Winter's story.
1 in 50 children develop an autism spectrum disorder, including Asperger's syndrome, a high-functioning form characterized by high intelligence but low social skills. It is a great challenge for families, even strong families.
From the very beginning, I knew that there was something not quite right with Levi. As a mother, you know, you just feel it in your heart. You have these little questions. And as I watched him, I just wept. I just wept because he didn't have the normal reaction that a child is supposed to have. And that worried me. It gripped me. It scared the life out of me. And I knew something's wrong here. We need to find out what's going on.
Then Levi heard Winter's story.
Clearwater Marine Aquarium production. Winter, the Dolphin That Can. Filmed on location in Florida. Featuring Winter. And introducing Hope.
We believe in preserving our marine life and environment while inspiring the human spirit. Through leadership in education, research, rescue, rehabilitation, and release, we give marine life a second chance. Come, experience our finest hour. The inspiring true story of Winter, and catch a glimpse of her ability to change a life.
Editor, Rob Klowicki. Associate Producer, Joe Mello. Assistant Editor, Ryan Stanton. Producer and writer, David Mays. Hosted by Cozi Zulsdorf. Narrated by Tom Kenny and the French Narrator, featuring Alec Baldwin.
First time I saw Winter, I took one look at her and I really didn't think she had a chance of surviving.
Given her condition, I thought the probability of her surviving was not good. When they first brought Winter in, she was very critical, and I looked at her and thought, oh, this is a long shot.
And we were advised to euthanize her.
Every day, I think we all came in thinking the same thing. Is she gonna be here this morning? Is she still gonna be okay?
Mosquito Lagoon, Florida, on December 10th, 2005.
Hope, a basic human need. In an area best known for launch pads and space shuttles, a baby dolphin clings to hope. Having encountered a man-made device, she now fights for survival. And as rescuers track to her location, she is now entering into an undiscovered new world, the world of a human race. She is young, alone, and in desperate need of compassion. As the rescuers hold her in their arms, they are about to see something they will never see again. The human race and the animal world are about to cross paths in a way that rarely happens. This is the remarkable true story of Winter and her tail.
We got a report of this animal at 9:30 this morning, and the injuries that she has are due to a crab pot entanglement with a rope. So it basically was dragging through the corners of her mouth and also caused her some abrasions around her body from being wrapped up in the rope. So she's doing really well. She's been very tough all day.
The team needs a rescue van to get Winter to safety and Clearwater.
That's correct. You go to the guard gate there, and he will point you down to Turtle Mound. And it's a little nature trail. You'll see a gate there. Just pull that ambulance right up to that gate, and we can walk the animal out to the street. You don't even have to ride.
With the van on site, the rescue was on, as members of the Harvard Branch Oceanographic Institute, SeaWorld, and Husby Research Institute rescue teams joined hands to save the baby dolphin.
Hey guys, Brandon, this is Nicole. Nicole, nice to meet you. Christy, hi, Christy. Hi. Hello, how you doing? Boy, long day, huh?
Especially for her.
Oh, what an adorable little calf.
Yeah, cute. Tracking real
Poor
well.
thing.
Seems to be,
Doctor, you going to be able to ride with us back with the animal? That'd be great. And whoever you'd like to have ride with us, that's fine too.
Okay, very good, thank you.
And then we're just go ahead and walk it back, I guess.
Let's move it forward quite a bit. So we got a spot? Yep. So we got a spot?
Did you want to walk along the water? Would that be easier for you? Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Definitely. All right, so good. All right, kid. All right.
See, where's your piece for that?
Like an injured athlete carted off the playing field, Winter says goodbye to the only world she's known, and into the hands of humans who live for these moments. Will the team be able to keep her stable for the trip to Clearwater Marine Aquarium? The game is on, and there's no going back. Trip to Clearwater and the waiting Clearwater Marine Aquarium team is a 4-hour drive across the state. The first step is a short truck ride to the waiting rescue van, as phase 2 of the rescue is underway. The damage to her tail is now obvious. As Winter settles in for the long medical transport, the serious nature of her overall condition becomes clear to all. The team has never seen damage to a dolphin tail like this. Having never been away from her mom until now, Winter is in a frightening and fragile state. The eyes of the team members are telling as Winter struggles to stay alive in this new world. The rescue team does everything possible to make her comfortable, but the fight to stay alive, as Winter's and hers alone. Clearwater is now in sight.
Clearwater Marine Aquarium, at 9:02 p.m.
With advance notice of the arrival, the Clearwater Marine Aquarium team wastes no time getting Winter into a medical pool. Her first time in the water other than her ocean home. Here begins the next step in Winter's journey.
Let's go back and learn more about that day. Every now and then, our everyday lives encounter something extraordinary. On a cool December morning, Jim Savage decided to unwind for the weekend. Fishing alone. Little did he know something else was alone that day in Mosquito Lagoon. Jim then began a chain of events that would eventually empower children in every country and remind us all of the power of hope.
Well, it was just after first light, maybe 7 o'clock in the morning. I was heading out, and the crab traps were out pretty thick. Just out of the corner of my eye, I happened to notice one that was not laid over in the wind like all the other ones, and so I got off the throttle and motored over there, and as I got closer, I could see something was disturbing it. I could tell it was something different than that. The whole buoy was really moving big time, so I kind of eased up there real slowly, and just as I got there, I could see it really moving, and Winter came up and kind of took a big gasp of a breath. There was probably maybe 10 coils of the rope right at the base of her tail, at that bottom knuckle, and I mean embedded in the skin, and the skin was kind of off and bloody and all that. To have a dolphin kind of entangled in the rope like that took me back a little bit. As soon as I cut the rope in the middle, she sprung open, and just when she came, another boat came, and I asked the guy if he would go to the dock and pick her up, because I was afraid to leave Winter because she could still move, and I was afraid she'd get behind one of the mangrove islands or something and I wouldn't be able to find her anymore. I picked her up in the boat, and I said, I know how to do this, and had the other guy take the inside. I took the outside, and we funneled her over to the sandbar at Turtle Mound, and it took a few attempts, and she would still kind of escape every time, and after about 3 times of that, I said, all right, that's enough, and I just jumped in and grabbed her. So I brought her over to her. She sat down in the water. We got a towel put over it, and that's how it started.
One call, Teresa Mazza received a call that would change her life in a way she could never have imagined. One call. Hurrying to the scene, she and other rescue team members became the lifeline for a baby dolphin. She knew the odds were against them.
So we went through the park gates and we parked at the visitor center, and I ran down to the boat ramp. So my first impression when I first saw her, it's unusual anytime you see a dolphin that's just sitting at the surface. She was sitting right next to Jim's boat and she wasn't moving. So I knew immediately that it was a serious situation. I was sitting in the water holding her. So I just lifted my right hand up and I looked at her tail, and it looked horrific. And when we picked her up from the water, we could see that her tail was kind of fluttering. So she didn't have real good movement, and she would try to swim and she would move her body up and down, but her tail would just kind of flutter. The entanglement injuries at the tail, because there was so much rope around the base of her tail, you couldn't identify a single laceration. It was just an entire area at the base of her tail that was just kind of constricted and damaged. At that point, I realized that depending on how long we need to have her here in the water and stabilize her, she could die. And then the tail itself, each fluke, the skin was just falling away. In addition to the tail, she had really deep wounds along either side of her mouth where the rope had cut through. Her eyes were wide awake. Every time somebody came close to us, she would look around, she was watching, she was very alert. At one point, a few other dolphins swam by and she started vocalizing and trying to kind of get out of my hands. So I held on to her really tightly. We knew if we let her go that her chances were slim.
I don't really feel that she had much time left because of the gasping that she was doing when she'd come up.
That's when the tears started. So we really thought, once we found out that there was a hiccup and that it was going to take a while to get somebody there, we really started to think that she might not survive, that we could be sitting there alone with her on the side of the river and she could die while we were holding her.
Teresa was holding on to her at that time. I got a towel and put over Winter, and she said, give me your hand, and I she put my hand on Winter's heart, and it was unbelievably racing hard. I mean, it was like a machine gun. It was incredible.
I even had Jim come over and put his hand kind of where my hand was when I was holding her, and he could also sense that she was really stressed out.
I was talking to her, just telling her it's going to be okay.
Those first few minutes when we caught her, it was so stressful and really just, it's kind of a blur to me now. But as she calmed down and we all calmed down and we knew that we needed to figure out what the next step was, everything really got quiet for the rest of the day, and that was for her benefit. And then it seemed like after that point, once she realized that she wasn't in danger anymore, I think she almost kind of like was able to rest.
They finally said that Clearwater, they had a vehicle coming, they were going to bring her to Clearwater, they had a team ready. Everybody's spirits got raised, and at that time I said, okay, you guys are the professionals, I'm leaving.
So once the transport crew got there, they brought a stretcher that's specially designed for whales and dolphins. And they kind of came alongside me and dropped the stretcher under her, and then I kind of moved out of the way and they lifted up the stretcher around her. And at that point there was a burst of energy. So she started vocalizing, she started thrashing from side to side, and it was a good sign of life. She still had a lot of energy. I think she had most of the day to kind of rest and recuperate a little bit. So by the time we went to move her, she really reacted to that. And I think that was a good sign that she was still responsive.
Clearwater Marine Aquarium is an exciting marine life rescue center. What hospitals do for humans, we do for marine life, like dolphins and sea turtles. When Winter arrived, desperately sick and injured, our medical teams took over. Winter had the best medical care available, and everyone rallied around her. It was a great team effort. She even ate special liquid food, kinda like a healthy milkshake. Oops, sorry, forgot how loud that was. Just like sick people, Winter also had to take a lot of medicine and vitamins. She was really sick, and we still didn't know if she would make it.
Well, there was a lot of preparation for her arrival, and when she got off the truck and we were ready to put her in the water, everyone was very quiet.
Need somebody else inside.
Everyone was watching, anticipating how she would react when she hit the water.
Got him.
She was very nervous, very stressed because of the transport, because of the entire ordeal that she had been through. It's hard to see an animal like that.
She was very, very critical. She was in shock. She just didn't look good. She wasn't moving a lot. You can kind of think of it in terms of a human car crash where they're bringing in the Bayflight helicopter, that kind of critical. What do you think she has, got 2 months maybe?
So when I first saw her, I felt sad for her. I felt that there was a good possibility that this animal wasn't going to make it.
Just like in human medicine, the first thing we have to do with a critical injury is stabilization for shock, giving fluids, making sure they stay warm, and make sure that they continue breathing. But what you got to do is let her try to swim, but then you got to, if she starts taking her breath, get that blowhole off. So for Winter, it meant getting the pool temperature up very high, walking with her, cradling her in our arms through the water, and then giving fluids, because that was our big thing. She had gotten dehydrated, called reperfuse, get fluids going, get blood moving.
But she also had some very severe marks from the ropes that had gone through her rostrum. It had damaged her tongue. She had very severe injuries underneath her pectoral fins from another rope. Obviously, the tail was the most striking part of her body that was so severely damaged.
But at that time, we weren't sure whether or not the tissue around the tail was actually dead or if it was salvageable.
Holding Winter's tail, it was flimsy. It didn't have structure to it. You started to see that she was losing her skin, and clearly, the tissue had already begun to die. We would be handling her, and I would think to myself, how is this going to heal? Within the first 2 weeks of her arrival, we started to see the tail slough off. I can remember watching some of our volunteers walking her around the pool, and you would see tissue just trailing behind her. Just her tail flukes just becoming distorted looking, and it was very bizarre to see this sort of play out, but the tissue would literally just start to shed from her body, and we would remove dead tissue from dead tissue at this point in time. So we would take pieces of it off because obviously we don't want her trailing tissue around.
It was dead tissue that had no blood flow. Not so much amputating, but keeping whatever tissue was alive healthy and trying to stop infection so that we didn't lose more and more and more. It had to continue going till live tissue was there. And that was a big concern because the tissue that had been damaged had gone way far up the tail into the very base, and if it had gone any higher, she wouldn't have been salvageable.
So we weren't quite sure what we were looking at. Again, it's very hard to imagine, and you wouldn't automatically come to that conclusion, okay, this animal is going to lose their tail, because that's never happened before.
She just seemed so frail, and I remember thinking, I don't want to get attached to her because I kind of feel I know how this is going to go. And every day, I think we all came in thinking the same thing. Is she going to be here this morning? Is she still going to be okay?
In terms of her adapting without tail flukes, we wanted to see that she could, for one, get around and feel comfortable in her environment and feel comfortable with her new physical form of, not having a tail.
Well, we'd been walking around, crab walking is what we called it, and just on our knees, basically going around the pool, holding her up, and gradually she wasn't dead weight on us anymore. She seemed to be holding her own a little bit.
We started just dropping our hands down a little bit to see if she could move.
In the beginning, she would float more. She was not sure, so she would float more at the surface and just kind of hang out.
As far as when she started to, actually, it's like a baby learning to take those first few steps. It was surprising, but in a way not so, because Winter was constantly amazing us.
So learning to swim side to side was a process, and we would start to see her practice doing this motion. She would be by the side of the pool, and we would have the outflow where water's flowing out of it, and she would just very subtly move side to side just to stay stationary.
Then she started figuring out, and she really figured it out on her own, that she could move her body side to side, more in a sharky fashion, which isn't the way dolphins are supposed to swim. Dolphins move up and down. Sharks move to side. Without a tail, Winter had to start moving side to side.
It was just kind of watching her take those little baby steps and watching her move like that. Again, I think it goes back to her being a very young dolphin and resourceful, and if I can't do it the old way, fine, I'll figure out a way to do it my own way. But it was fun watching her, and yeah, those were happy days.
One of the major milestones in her rehabilitation. We just took it day by day. We really focused on each day. We wanted to see just small bits of improvement, whether it was just utilizing the water column a little bit more, becoming a little bit more independent. She started nursing really well. We were very happy to see that.
My day with Winter always started the very same way, and that was with the bottles. So we'd go in and we would make formula in this giant blender and put all sorts of stuff in there. And at the time, our heating method was to warm it in a big bucket of water and climb in the pool and offer it to Winter.
Wow, good start, good start.
But we continued to treat her medically. You know, every day we had to clean her wound, and she had to be weighed, and she had to eat a certain amount, and she had to receive injections and other medication to keep her going.
But basically twice a day we'd get her out of the water and clean that area. She got to where she didn't really like having her wounds scrubbed because it can hurt. Like a little kid, no, I don't want you to clean my wound. So we had to start some behavior training to get her to respond better so that she didn't become afraid of us.
Trainers began working with her because she needed to start learning some behaviors. It was obvious that she wasn't going to be able to go back out in the wild, so they needed to be able to work with her, and she needed to start the training process.
Once she was swimming, she couldn't still just be left alone because that would be cruel. She needed social companionship, and humans became that social companionship until she was healthy enough to be moved in with other dolphins.
There we go.
Normally, dolphins would be with their mom, and they would be socializing, and that was an important part of her rehabilitation. So we knew that, we needed to introduce her to a companion that would be really good for her, an older animal, older female, and we chose Panama. We introduced them in a pool, one of our outside pools, and we were uncertain because she doesn't have a tail. How was Winter gonna do with Panama? Would she be able to keep up with her? How would Panama view Winter? I mean, this is something that a dolphin would never see out in the wild. So there's a lot of questions, but there was a few rough days. In the end, it worked out perfectly. The two of them complement one another.
So that was really good. That was a good thing. She was now swimming on her own, but it was a bad thing in that it's not physiologically correct for them. Winter was swimming in a side-to-side motion.
And that'll become something that can develop into a painful situation as she gets older.
Was once Winter started moving side to side, which is what she needed to do to stay afloat and to swim because she didn't have a tail, what was that going to do?
You look at it is that without a physical tail there to exercise those vertebrae, she'll eventually get to the point where her muscles will contract more and more and more, and at one stage it'll actually reach a plane where those vertebrae don't move at all.
Dolphin physiology, in the way they're built, is designed for that up and down motion. That's the way the muscles are designed.
Her spine will actually start to deform in a number of different directions. It'll deform from an up and down perspective, which is a typical movement for a dolphin, but in utilizing the side to side without something stopping it from getting worse, she'll start to get worse and worse curvatures laterally as well.
It could perhaps make her more susceptible to arthritis or, other type of long-term problems.
To where you see people walking with these very jerky movements as they're no longer able to move the way they should. That same thing can happen to any other species, including Winter.
And we really had nothing to go on because there wasn't a dolphin without a tail. She was a first.
So the idea came up. Could we make her a new tail? Was it possible? Well, let's just say we got a few funny looks at the idea. Then came the call.
I was driving home from work one evening and heard this story about this little dolphin who just lost his tail. I was thinking to myself, we put prosthetics on people, why not a tail on a dolphin? So I picked up the phone, I called Clearwater Marine Aquarium and said, we can put a tail in your dolphin. I know initially they thought I was crazy in the head, but they quickly realized I was serious. I called my colleague Dan Strimke. I said, Dan, we have this project.
First thing I thought when I hung up the phone with Kevin after discussing this with him was,
should I tell anybody? They're gonna think I'm crazy.
He says, why not?
There was really no point in the whole process, even from the very beginning, that I didn't think we could do it.
We spent numerous hours at the aquarium working as a team.
The team that was assembled was one of the greatest parts about being involved in this project.
Working with the trainers, with the veterinarians, working with the management.
There were so many different people of different expertise that truly came together without any ulterior motives.
As a result, we came up with great ideas.
Everybody's doing it for the right reason, and you got the most dedicated people involved in this.
I know many, many times Dan and I would leave there and we were very inspired and motivated to go back and work harder to come up with a solution for winter.
With the team in place, Kevin, Dan, and the Hanger Clinic team went to work.
Hanger Clinic has been around for 150 years, and as you can imagine, it takes a lot of technology to build a prosthetic limb.
Marrying ingenuity and high technology, the team searched for new methods to solve the many obstacles they had to overcome. This was not going to be easy, but nothing a great rewarder. The teams met on hundreds of occasions, each time refining their ideas just a little bit more, edging closer to their goal, a new tail for winter.
Over a period of time, the tail got more dynamic, more flexible, and a workable tail. It was just awesome to see a team coming together and come up with all these great solutions. This is the first time there's a full prosthetic tail built for a dolphin.
The biggest challenge we were soon to face was how are we going to keep this tail on her and not have it hurt her skin?
When you think about dolphins has very fragile skin.
One of the first things I realized when I actually met Winter and first time I put my hands on her was she was slippery. I mean, her skin it seemed delicate and it was very, very slippery.
So we had to come up with a very protective material.
Similar to what we're using on humans, but with some additional benefits or characteristics.
We wanted softness, we wanted flexibility, we wanted sticky and tacky. That's what locks the prosthesis in place. It's the sealed environment.
That we actually roll on her skin, put the tail on, and then another similar gel goes over the top to basically hold it on with suction.
We put all the minds together and came up with a very, very incredible, inspirational solution to hold the prosthesis in place.
It's now known as Winter's Gel.
Guess who got to check out Winter's Gel before winter? Dan Strimke.
I'm an amputee that has been wearing prosthesis for 37 years now and have dealt with the issues of pressure and rubbing and all that. So I ended up being the guinea pig because we didn't want to try something on Winter that has never been tried before.
Oftentimes you hear about animals testing product before it's ever used on humans. Well, in this case, the product was used on the human before it ever went to the animal.
And it was excitingly amazing how comfortable this product was.
Little children that could not walk before is now walking because of Winter.
So it was really, what started off as what I thought I was trying to help her. She's helped me personally and so many of our patients.
With the breakthrough discovery of Winter's Gel now helping people, the project took on a greater culmen, and inspiration was not far behind. People in nearly every country began to hear of this young dolphin with such a big heart, seemingly unafraid of her disability. In fact, she had to learn how to swim all over again. Her trains began to slowly teach her what she had likely forgot, an up and down swimming motion. Getting used to the early gel sleeves and tail designs was no easy task. Like a child learning to walk, Winter was led around the pool by her training team, one stroke at a time. Since then, she's become a seasoned pro, and as to both swimming methods, she hasn't had time to worry about being different.
Winter has been an incredible inspiration to kids all over the world. Today, there's children wearing prosthetics that had given up on it before, but when they heard Winter's story, they said, wow, if Winter can do it, I can do it. Every year we have Camp No Limits visit Clearwater Marine Aquarium. They get to visit with Winter the dolphin and all the other injured animals.
There's not a week goes by, a day goes by where I don't have someone either write me an email or whatever saying, what you did was amazing. My daughter had this problem and she didn't want to do this. She's read about Winter, studied Winter, and all of a sudden she's doing this. I mean, and I hear this all the time.
There was a little boy who came the other day from the Midwest. He was missing both of his arms and both of his legs. And to see the interaction between him and Winter was just inspiring. That little kid today is walking now because of Winter.
Winter's been an amazing patient. She's accepted everything we put on her. It's really like working with our kids. She's tough. Like our pediatric kids are tough. Things they want to get up and walk, and they're going to do everything they can to do that. Winter wants to swim. She's going to do whatever she can to swim.
Our work is not yet done. Every time there's a new tail built for Winter, it's different. Recently, Dan and I came up with a new tail, and it's actually black. And the advantage of the black is that we can diagnose dynamics of swimming in the water, just like what we do with our human subjects, motion analysis.
And this will let us apply markers to the fluke, which will allow us to study the motion a little bit better. Also, you see these attachment points are different, so we can take them off or take it apart more easily and switch out this joint, because we're also going to determine whether which stiffness is better.
So we have to use materials that are allowing us to do this type of analysis. We can change the dynamics of this very, very easily. And I could imagine coming back 20 years from now and there'll be some incredible technologies that we'll be putting on Winter. And who knows what she will inspire in the future.
While filming Dolphin Tale, we all fell in love with Winter and her fun personality. It's impossible not to. As Winter's story spread around the globe, thousands of kids from nearly every country emailed us, called, or wrote to explain how much Winter meant to them. Simply put, kids connect with Winter. Winter was different, but she was okay and thriving at life. She lost her tail, but so what? That wasn't gonna slow her down. She had too much to do with her life. Let's travel to California and Indiana to meet two young girls with amazing stories of survival and hear them tell in their own words how Winter inspired them to overcome their life challenges.
I do skiing, I do gymnastics, I swim, I water ski. This list could go on and on.
All the things that I've done in my life right now is jump roping, cheerleading, gymnastics, horseback riding. I went four-wheeling, mudding.
You two do what? I've got to hear this. This is going to be amazing.
She had had 23 surgeries when we met her, and she's had 15 surgeries since then.
I do remember that when I was 5, I started to realize that people started staring.
We were living in Latvia. Megan was burned by her birth mother when she was 5 months old. Her birth mother was very drunk, and she dropped a cigarette in her bed, or the boyfriend did, we're not sure who. Boyfriend left the house. They'd had a fight early in the morning. Boyfriend left the house, locked mom into the apartment from the outside with a key. And so he left the apartment and mom passed out. Megan's crib was exactly next to the bed. It wasn't like she was in another room. The neighbors could hear Megan screaming, and depending upon what neighbor you talked to, between 2 and 4 hours, they could hear her screaming and could smell smoke, but mom wouldn't arouse. And so they pounded on the door and were trying to arouse the mom. She finally woke up at some point and realized Megan was on fire, so she poured a tea kettle over her. And when the police came, they realized she wasn't dead, she was in shock. She had 2nd, 3rd, and 4th degree burns, over 55% of her body. So they took her to the hospital. And in the hospital, they did nothing for her for 3 days because they were sure she was gonna die. They were no longer feeding her. They were gonna let her starve to death. And they said no one could ever love a one-legged baby. And so they felt like that she didn't have any chance in life. And so we adopted her. We took her to a psychiatrist in the Netherlands who told me that the best thing I could do for her was institutionalize her, that there was no hope for her future. And instead we got rid of the psychiatrist instead of getting rid of the little girl. She would learn to do things like she talked about learning how to skip and learning how to gallop, and she'd say, Mommy, teach me how to do this. And I'd say, Megan, you need 2 legs. And she'd say, no, I don't, Mommy, I just need to be taught. And so I'd show her, and sure enough, off she'd go. And we got her little prosthetic leg when she was 2, and it didn't have a knee. And she tried so hard, and we tried so hard to get her to use it. And I'd put it on her, and she'd put it on for 2 minutes, and she'd whip the thing off. And then I'd put it back on her, and she'd whip it off. We got the book Winter the Dolphin for her that Christmas. And then she just kept looking at it. And when I was reading her the story, I said, Megan, this dolphin sounds like you. Let's put your name in every place where it says winter. And let's see how the story reads.
I read the book, Winter's Tale. And then instead of putting in Winter's Tale, we put in Megan's leg. So it kind of went like this. It said, and her story is far from over. She is still learning all of the things she can do with her special leg. And her prosthetist and prosthetic designers are still learning how they can help her even more. Every step of the way, they will need to be open to new ideas and will be willing to try different solutions. Their shared goal is to help Megan live a long, healthy, and happy life. Megan is one little girl who gives people hope and shows that anything is possible.
I knew that I was different when I was 6 years old, when everybody at school had their normal leg and I didn't.
Katrina was the 4th child in our family, and the pregnancy was good and that I was healthy, she was healthy, and then when she was born, she surprised us by having PFFD, which means that the hip didn't develop right, that the top of the femur and the hip just didn't develop to where the femur would be the full length that it needed to be. In result, her foot was at the same level as the opposite knee. The most tough thing, I think, is when she needed her first prosthesis and our insurance told us no. That was the day where I started to battle for Katrina. The other kids in school would step on her prosthetic foot and make her fall purposely so that they could laugh.
Yeah, I had a lot of people that said, you know what, this is not going to work out because, I don't want to be hanging out with the person who has a prosthetic leg. I was the complete shy girl at school that I wouldn't talk to anybody at all unless they come up and talk to me. I was just in my own little world at school.
As a mom, sorry, you want to do the best for your child.
I've asked myself, why me? Why would I have a prosthesis? But, God cares about the children that He makes. And the children that He makes will have a perfect life. And I look at myself as I will have a perfect life. What God is making me have.
Megan meets Winter in July 2010.
Then when she finally got to meet Winter, she felt like, okay, this kind of validates why I'm here. And at the same time, she met a bunch of other amputee children who gave her the same message, which is you need to be able to be more functional.
Here she comes. Perfect. Now big wave. Big wave. She's like, no. Good job. Well, put your
Megan gets a new leg.
How you doing?
Yeah.
But this is held up okay?
Yeah, it's, my mom was wondering if we could cast my foot again, just in case it breaks.
If that's fitting you okay, I mean, we could duplicate that socket. If the socket is fitting fine.
Ah, okay. That was a wedgie. As you give me a wedgie.
Okay, pull your shirt up.
Oh gosh, I feel like I'm at gym doing squats.
It's good for you. I don't know if I want to go.
Well, I guess I did unscrew it a little bit. I never realized that.
Yeah. We'll try that.
She's gotten to water ski, she's gotten to snow ski, she's gotten to snowboard. In 2 weeks, she's going surfing for the 3rd time.
The first time Katrina met Winter, we were on an educational stop at Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Katrina was hilarious when they first brought Winter out and they were putting her prosthesis on. She was on the edge of her seat trying to see everything. She wanted to be as close to the pool as she could.
That day was just awesome, you know, just seeing the tail get put on her and seeing her jump out of the water and everything. It was amazing. She did everything just like how the dolphins can do, and I was very inspired with that. And then, you know, I went back home after that and I did gymnastics and cheerleading, and, you know, I was actually really happy that me and her had that bond.
And that was the turning point for Katrina. She had never done anything where she just went out on a limb and did it on her own until then. And to this day, she'll tell you Winter inspired her to jump rope. She's got this story about Winter now, and she goes to school and she starts talking about Winter with the dolphin who's like me. She has the prosthetic tail and I have the leg, and we played together and she understands me. And then she comes home and she announces, I joined Jump Rope Club. And the first thing we all did was, you don't know how to jump rope. She says, it's okay, because you guys are gonna teach me. So in one weekend, Katrina, me, and her sisters all jumped rope. And she learned how to jump rope to start Jump Rope Club on Monday. And that was the turning point for Katrina. 5 years ago, she was shy. She would not want to try things thinking that the kids would make fun of her. She just was kind of withdrawn. And now she is out there. She amazes me with the things she accomplishes just because Winter inspired her to just go out and do things. Winter is always on Katrina's mind. She's always on the webcam looking at Winter. She's always keeping up with Winter. But the thing that inspired Katrina the most was that Winter went out into the pool, different from all the dolphins, and she didn't care who was looking at her. That's what Katrina brought home.
If Winter did not be in my life at this moment right now, I would be gone. I would be the shy girl that stays at home and doesn't talk to anybody. And now I've met Winter. I've done more things in my life right now that I'm happy to be doing.
If winter can, I can.
Don't tell me I can't do this.
And 15-year-old rising Nashville recording artist Caroline Cole was so moved by Winter's story. She penned an exciting and inspiring song in Winter's honor with a few friends when she was only 12. We dropped in at world-renowned and starstruck studio in Nashville, where Caroline spends much of her time writing and recording, to get a first-hand behind-the-scenes look at her performing the song. Sure to be a hit with Winter fans all over the world. And of course, Winter herself, who does, by the way, love music.
You ready?
Winter came one sunny day, and that's the day my whole life changed. I could be there for a friend in a way I've never been before. I knew just what I had to do. I had to undo what they'd done to you. I said, don't you be afraid. Somehow, someday we'll find a way. Oh, give me your fear, give me your pain. I will hold you in my arms till you're you again. Live proud, live strong, till all the cold is gone. From winter.
Coachman Park in Clearwater, Florida.
I know what you think of us, but I am someone you can trust. I can see how desperately you tried and tried to be free. But give me your fear, give me your pain. I will hold you in my arms till you're you again. Live proud, live strong, till all the cold is gone. Every time I close my eyes, I can see you fly. Give me your fear, give me your pain. I will hold you in my arms till you're you again. Live proud, live strong, till all the cold is gone. Oh, give me your fear, give me your pain. I will hold you in my arms till you're you again. Live proud, live strong, till all the cold is gone. From winter, from winter, till all the cold is gone. From winter.
My name is U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Russ Merrick. On September 16th, 2005, my life changed. I was a tank commander in Iraq. A roadside bomb tore through our tank. 2 of my fellow soldiers died instantly. I was severely injured. I lost my right arm, right leg, and I suffered a brain trauma from the impact. I don't remember much from that night. I spent 13 weeks in a coma. The doctors weren't sure I would live. When I woke from the coma, I struggled at life. Many major surgeries, many doctor's visits. I wasn't even sure I wanted to live. So much has changed in my life. I needed inspiration, a role model. Then I met Winter. She changed my life. I was having trouble wearing my prosthetic arm and leg. I saw her struggling to wear hers. She never gave up, and neither did I. I tell people that if Winter can do this, so can I, and so can they. With help from my family, I now live in my own home and encourage other wounded soldiers through their rough times. My family's support helped me through this. Then Winter showed me I could move on.
Located near world-famous Clearwater Beach, Clearwater Marine Aquarium, also known as CMR, is housed to convert a water treatment plant. From this humble but growing facility, the work of marine life rescue, reanimation, and release reaches out throughout the west coast of Florida. On call 24/7, the CMR team responds to hundreds of incidents each year, as dolphins, river otters, and sea turtles all find themselves in need of rescue, with many of them stranding themselves on local beaches. Every rescued animal is provided state-of-the-art, individualized medical care that can include physicals, x-rays, surgery, medication, and all aspects of veterinarian care. The CMA's sea tutoring work continues to increase as many of these endangered species are injured in our crowded waterways. Each turtle represents many hatchlings that never made it to adulthood. No different than a human hospital, the plan is to restore each of our rescued animals to full health, with an ultimate goal of returning them into the wild. With an experienced and motivated staff volunteer team, these animals are all given a second chance for life. What an exciting work! Thousands of animals have been saved as CMR continues to stand on guard for marine life. And some are so adorable!
Female river otter, we estimate her about 3 months old, and she's weighing in a little over 3 pounds. There's a little tiny girl. She's doing well. She's very dehydrated. We give her fluids. We're feeding her every 2-3 hours around the clock. She's going home with somebody, getting all the care she needs, and she's doing very well.
One of the most important and rewarding parts of the CMO work is oversight of the local sea turtle nesting program. Each year, hundreds of sea turtles, mostly the endangered loggerhead species, travel hundreds of miles toward beautiful beaches to deliver their offspring during the dark of the night. The CMO team, including local volunteers, then searched out new nests each morning by looking for the tidal wave tracks, a dead giveaway. They are finding nests that have been laid. The team then marks, secures, and numbers the site. Weeks later, the hatchlings are ready for their entry to the world, and just as their eggs were laid at night, they hatch at night and follow the light of the moon to nearby water. The stampede begins! Then by one, they hurry to the water that would be their home.
You got one. A live one. Oh no, he's just waking up.
No.
Oh, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, well, he's going to.
Now, are you just gonna let him go, or are you gonna direct him, or?
We're gonna take him down by the water.
Yeah, make sure he gets there. There he goes. You're almost there. He made it. Keep going.
And he's off! Another important and fun part of CMA's work is providing educational moments for guests, especially kids, connecting them with the importance of protecting our marine life environment. We believe we can inspire the next generation to carry the banner of conservation and environmental protection. Allowing kids to get hands-on in a fun and educational setting makes both kids and parents happy.
This is both their stomach and their foot, so we call them stomach, foot, or gastropod, and that's what they do. They crawl around, they find something like that, and they eat them right out of the shell. That's pretty cool.
All in the day's work at the busy Clearwater Marine Aquarium.
The rescue story of our young dolphin named Hope is an amazing story. People literally don't believe it when they hear it, but here it is. A going-away party for the Dolphin Tale cast and crew was planned for the last day of filming. 10 minutes after shooting the last scene that day, I received a call from our team that a female dolphin calf was being rescued on the Florida East Coast. If survived, it would be brought to us for medical care. We were mindful that young dolphins typically don't survive rescues. The party was planned at Island Way Grill, a restaurant literally just a few feet from our facility. To our surprise, as the party was winding down, the rescue team arrived with a dolphin. It was hanging to life. The team quietly but quickly moved into action. As she was brought out, it was clear she was in trouble. So Steve McCullough from Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute simply picked her up and hurried her into our facility, bypassing the crane that was to lift her to the second level pool.
With everything in it. Tell him that I want everything in the stretcher. Tell him that everything needs to be in the stretcher.
Team needed to quickly perform a medical checkup before lowering her into the pool. Her breath count was monitored to gauge her stress level.
Lift her up. I want her flipped around. Okay. I want the hooks up on. Ready? Let's go. Lower the crane. Get the hooks on this. I need to get her.
As the Clearwater Marine Aquarium and Harbor Branch teams prepared to lower the dolphin calf into our pool, her condition was worsening and quickly. At one point, we thought she was dying. The veterinarian, Dr. Julie Goldstein, waited to welcome her into her new home, knowing her patient was critical, including severe dehydration. The calf had been found trying to nurse from her mother, who had died. Another grave concern we had was the stress level, as this alone can end the life of a young dolphin. The team had to quickly create a comfortable environment for her. Water was served as soon as they could, which required bottled hand feedings.
She open. See what she does.
Just as with Winter, humans now became her connection to life. Soon, she began to show high levels of energy, which actually were a concern, as her constant activity could cause her young body to begin to fail. However, she soon began to show signs of recovery, and although not well yet, was on the path to health. We decided to name her Hope. Not only did Hope arrive the same night we wrapped Dolphin Tail, but the similarities between her rescue and a winter's rescue were simply amazing and hard to believe. Both were about the same age, around 2 months old when rescued. Both were females. Both were the same species, Atlantic bottlenose dolphins. They were found only 20 miles apart from each other on the east coast of Florida. Their rescues were exactly 5 years and 1 day apart. And Teresa Mazza, one of the same ladies that rescued Winter, found Hope. As the days moved on, Hope's ability to adapt to her new home was as inspiring as it was quick, as she immediately bonded with her new human family just as Winter had. Whoever Hope was with was her BFF for the day. Her fun-loving attitude toward life was on full display for the CMA team to see, and Clearwater Marine Aquarium guests began to take note of this happy-go-lucky little girl. Then came the big day. Time to move inside to Winter's pool and then to be paired with her movie star fellow dolphin. One of our concerns has always been that when Winter's current partner, the elderly Panama, passes on, we would have no partner for Winter. Hope became the answer before the problem ever presented itself. As they saw each other for the first time, little did they know they were developing a lifelong bond, likely to be paired for many years and becoming a dolphin duo to inspire the world. As Panama watches her 2 adopted kids, they stop to pose for a family portrait. Panama seems to know that these 2 will be fast friends long after she is gone.
Hope and Winter.
Isn't that amazing? And I was there that night. It happened right here. Making Dolphin Tail was so inspiring. It was incredible to see how Winter changed Sawyer's life. Well, there are real Sawyers all around us who have felt Winter's magical touch and realized it was okay, that they were going to be okay. Meet Levi, a real-life Sawyer.
Levi was probably about 2, maybe 18 months, and all the other children his age would be crawling around and toddling around and playing, and I would take Levi and I would sit him down and he would just sit there, totally disconnected and just sit. Most of my waking and non-waking hours were spent worrying about Levi and being heartsick. Really, you're heartsick because you love them. You love your children more than life itself. And to not be able to bond with them in an emotional way, it breaks your heart. It took from age 3, as far as actually actively searching for answers, it took from age 3 to age 8.5. It was hard. It was hard on our entire family. And when you don't understand what's going on, I used to say, if I could get inside his brain for just 5 minutes, Levi's brain, I would understand so much. I would know, but I couldn't. So life was difficult. And it was very difficult for me because I was a stay-at-home mother and I was trying to teach him at home. Everything I did with the other children didn't work with Levi, and I was at a loss. You know, maybe this will work. No, it didn't. Maybe that'll work. No. Maybe this will work. It was a series of maybe this will work, and it was constant failure. So I felt like a failure as a mother as a result. Levi didn't have any friends, and he didn't seem to really care whether he had friends or not.
Let's see, where's Levi? There he is, way back there.
Oh, Levi made it out.
Oh.
I would have to say the most difficult part of all that was not knowing my child. I didn't know who Levi was. And that hurt badly. It was like there was a concrete wall. And it was clear, so we could see each other. But that wall was there, and it was impenetrable. He was already disconnected. He got even more disconnected. In fact, I'll never forget, we had a big family reunion, and where's Levi? Where's Levi? Everybody's connecting, everybody's playing, all the cousins having a ball. Where's Levi? He was in his room, almost in the fetal position, sucking his thumb. At that point, I said, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm going to find out. I started getting book after book after book. I thought, nobody else is doing this for me. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to find out how to reach this child. My mother read an article, actually, about a doctor, Dr. Meunier. It was in the Tampa Tribune, and it was that he was an expert in childhood neurobehavioral disorders. I saw progress immediately after the very first session.
So a lot of people refer to Asperger's as a high-functioning autism, meaning as you look at the spectrum of autism, you're going to have ADD, ADHD, Asperger's, sensory integration, OCD, Tourette's and movement issues, maybe PDD, a mild form of autism, and then the full-blown autism. So these children may even be highly intelligent, meaning they read early or their academics are very high, but their problem and where the biggest issue is in social integration. And that may cause them to have difficulty making friends. Sometimes they want to make friends and can't do it, and sometimes they don't want friends at all. So that social aspect is where they have a problem.
All right. All right.
I was talking to a friend who knew all about Winter, and I thought, wow, you know, I would like to see her. I think Levi would like to see her. She has a disability, and he has a disability. Here we have this opportunity to get in the water with Winter. And I kept thinking, he's not going to do it. He is not going to do it. We're just going to go over there and he's going to say, no, I'm not getting in the water. So he went down the stairs and I was like, okay, he's going down the stairs. Good. Had my camera ready and everything stopped. As soon as he laid eyes on Winter, and Winter started swimming toward him. And he laid eyes before he could even get down the steps. I saw something I had never seen before in this child's entire life. And I saw connection. It was like he had just seen his best friend, and he had never seen her before. And his eyes lit up like we normally would. They danced. His eyes that were usually very void, very straight, they literally danced and sparkled, and this grin spread across his face. It was like he was, there you are, my old friend, there you are. It's like someone that maybe could never see, and they were blind from birth, and maybe they're traveling along and they are hit this spot, maybe a mountain or maybe I don't know, and all of a sudden they're getting glimmers and glimpses of light for the very first time in their whole life, and we don't know why, but we know it's something. And it's something precious, and it's something wonderful, and there's got to be something to it. His anxiety started to diminish enormously. I didn't see the look of nervousness as much, fretfulness as much. Just looking at going places were not a problem.
The first thing we saw after the encounters with Winter was a decrease in his anxiety level. As those things died down, Levi started to express himself, and we started to see the social and emotional connections that we're always talking about, particularly with his mom and his dad. So with his mother, the hugs, the kisses that are missing. And if you know people that have children on the spectrum, a lot of times they don't get that hug, that kiss that we all take for granted. So those things were clearly apparent, and what was most impressive was the rate at which those changes occurred. It's like the switch was flipped, and those things just started to pour out of him.
Oh, everything was about Winter. When are we going to see Winter again? I need a new bathing suit for Winter. Things started happening, and on the home front. He didn't have the fear of his own pets anymore. He had a dog. He had a guinea pig. And he was wholly happy with every fiber of his being. He was happy.
You ready to film the room now?
Yeah, let's go. Lead the way.
Have a remote control train and everything. It'll be fun. Sounds a little bit like this.
So we were having family reunions, and the people that were coming from out of town that hadn't seen him for a couple of months were saying, "Who is this child?" Well, I was surprised. He's taking this all in. You're talking about how many hundreds of people as extras on the filming of Dolphin Tale on those two scenes. And one of the scenes was when Sawyer gave his speech on the dock about his connection with Winter and how Winter and I are family and always will be.
Out of all the others, he was the character that had shared the most in common with me. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, so how are you guys common? How do you think you and Sawyer are common?
Well, when I first watched the movie, he was is the same age. And, well, he just seemed very similar.
looked down at Levi because he was standing by my side. We were part of the extras that were the audience, and he was crying. It connected with his heart. I want him to thrive, and everything that he learns and his passions and what he loves, I want him to thrive in that. And now I know he can.
Well, there you have it. Winter's amazing true story. I'm often asked, why do people make such a strong connection with Winter? My answer, she has a simple but profound message, and she lives it out. No matter what your obstacle in life, never ever give up. If Winter can, you can. We invite you to join us in our work of rescuing marine life and the human spirit. Find out more at seawinter.com. See you soon!
Where I Belong by Switchfoot. For Winter's Kids, a song of hope. Special Needs Cheerleading Team. St. Paul School in Clearwater, Florida.
Feeling like a refugee, like it don't belong to me. The colors flash across the sky. This air feels strange to me, feeling like a tragedy. I take a deep breath and close my eyes one last time. One last time.
We have a little tiny baby with real serious injuries. All we can do is try.
Storms on the wasteland, dark clouds on the plains again. We were born into the fight, but I'm not sentimental. This skin and bones is a rental, and no one makes it out alive. Yeah. Until I die,
U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Matthew Sidden, father, son, husband, friend, was scheduled to return from Afghanistan in September 2012. On one of his last Skypes with his wife, he discussed taking his newborn son to visit Winter. Sadly, he never got the chance. Just weeks before his scheduled return, Matthew died, defending our freedom. Mine, yours.
In memory of Matthew Sidden. We know you couldn't be here, but sir, your family remains strong. Army strong. To the real-life heroes who have visited our rescued animals, the honor has been ours. Winter found her home in caring human hands. Winter's kids find their home in loving families, renewed acceptance, and the belief that they, like Winter, are free to soar. To Megan, Katrina, Levi, and all of Winter's kids, your legs are before you. Fly high, fly free. Family is forever. Dedicated to the thousands of children, wounded soldiers, and others that have visited Winter, and to the many of you who have reached out to share your overcoming stories. You have inspired us.
For more information on our work or to visit Winter, Hope, and our beautiful beaches, go to seawinder.com. Help us build a new animal and education complex at seawinder.com as well.
Thank you so much for your support. Mary K. Costelli, Noah Thomas Reeder's birth Joshua Miata Jr., Noah's friend who used to go to Archway Lower School, Abigail Costelli, Noah's older sister, Christine Maloney, Noah's friend from Camp Joe Tony, John Joseph Frick, Noah's YouTube partner and co-creator of NR Station, Joseph Costelli, one of Noah's uncles along with Keith Riley, and Adrian Serlin Reeder, Noah's younger brother, now known as Adrian Ziumba.
We couldn't have done it without you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.